Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Jazakumullah for joining today's class. We'll get straight on to the dua for today. Support teacher, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
I have a student for the recitation of the opening prayer, please.
Yes, can I request G2 678 to come to the mic, please?
G2 678. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
One moment. Can you see my screen? Can you still see my screen? Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, how are you today?
Good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm well, Jazakallah. Okay, so let's get on with reading opening the dua, tashahhud and bismillah. So let's start that. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Okay, and the translation for those.
I seek refuge with Allah from Satan's rejected.
Okay, and the translation for Bismillah.
In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful.
Jazakallah. Let's skip to our dua for today. So the dua for reciting before we recite the Holy Quran is Rabbi zidni ilma.
Rabbi zidni ilma.
And the translation?
Oh my Lord, increase my in knowledge.
Okay, increase.
Taha.
Yep.
Verse 150.
That was really good reading. Well done. Okay, so increase means to make more. Okay, so may Allah give you more knowledge. Yes? While you're reciting the Holy Quran. Yes?
Yes.
Jazakallah G2 678. That was really well done.
Jazakallah. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Okay, so we'll quickly run through the etiquettes, and I hope you are all in ablution and have done wudu. I hope you're all wearing clean clothes. Your heads are covered, making sure that you have a dupatta if it's girls and a topi if it's a boy. Okay, you're sitting in a quiet place, and you have a parent present with you, and you're using the correct ID. I hope you've all done all of those things for today. Okay, this is today's schedule, and today is class number 37. The date today is the 7th of March 2023. We've just done the opening and the assembly, so we've done the opening dua and the assembly. Now we'll be going for rule and focus. Today we have a quiz, and that's for revision of lesson 21 of the Talimul-Quran book, which is about stopping and waqf rules. So I hope you all enjoy that. We'll just start that in a moment. After that, we'll be doing the practice text. Today it's chapter 26, which is Ashura, and we'll be doing verses 188 to 193 for the practice text. And today we'll also be doing the two hard words of tilawat, as we're learning how to recite the hard words of the Qur'an. And then finally, we'll consolidate with homework, any announcements, and dua, inshallah. Okay, so on to the quiz for today. So, one moment. Okay, so let's go through this first. So, I'm not sure, many of you may not have done a quiz before. Let me just show you what the quiz is about first. So, in the past few lessons, in the past few weeks, you've been learning the rules of waqf. And those are the rules of stopping. So let me just quickly remind you what that means. So waqf means to stop or pause. During the recitation, pausing at the end of a meaningful sentence or a verse with a break of breath is called waqf. The correct way of pausing at various types of Quranic words is explained below. And as you'll remember, we've done two words or two ways in which we can stop. in the Holy Quran while we're reciting, and you've done 2 a day. So what would this quiz is related to what you've learned so far. You've learned all of these, and this quiz will be related to those. So if you remember, for example, you see this word here, ذَلِكَ, and if you were to read it in continuation, you would read it as ذَلِكَ, but if you were to stop, the fatha above the kaf would change into a sukun, and we would recite it as ذَلِك rather than ذَلِكَ when we were to stop or come to a pause, for example, at the end of a verse. So I hope you understand what the quiz is about. I'll take you through the process of the quiz so you know what you're doing. So what we're going to do is we'll be displaying a question, and as we display the question on your screen, they'll pop up a small window, and in that window you'll have multiple choice answers. You'll see them on screen. I'll read them to you, and then my support teacher will bring up a little window, and in that window you'll see the multiple choice answers that I'll be asking on screen as well. And what you have to do is you have to choose the correct one. So you select the answer that you think is right. I'll read the question to you first, I'll give you the multiple choice answers, and then you select the answer. After that, remember, it's really important to press submit, because that means that your answer has come through to us and we will be able to register what your answer was. So don't forget to do that, that's really important. After this, we'll give you a moment to all of you to answer, and once the majority of you have answered, the answer will be revealed and you can see if you've got it right. Okay, I hope you understand that. And I hope you all enjoy this quiz. So, okay.
Main teacher?
Yes.
Could you explain the rules again? Some of the students are a bit confused.
Okay, let's start again. Let's start from the beginning. So let me show you what we're going to do actually. So we have some questions here. Let me just quickly show it to you so you're a bit more, it's a bit clearer for you. One moment. Okay, 1 minute. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me show you the actual quiz. So here's one question, for example. Whoops, I've just given that away. Okay, so the first question that we have here, I hope you can see that, everybody. So I'll be asking you a question. This is question number 1. So when you see the question, it says, what is the correct pause here? This yellow, the letter that's highlighted in yellow, as you can see, is a meme. That is a munawan meme, which means it carries a tanween. This is a tanween of dhamma. So when we stop on this meme, we read it as, sorry, when we recite this meme in continuation, we read it as mun. But how would we recite it if we were to come to a pause? Because you can see that there's a verse here, the end of the verse, and you have to change something. So that's the rules that you've been taught in the past few weeks in terms of how to come to a stop. Then you have the multiple choice questions over here. As you can see, the first choice is alim. The second choice is alimun. The third choice is alima. And the fourth choice is alimu. So you have to choose which one you think is correct. As you can see, just down here, it says click for answer. What you have to do, a small window will pop up, and in that window, you have to click on these bullets over here and choose which one you think is correct. Once we go through the quiz, you'll understand. So let's quickly go through the process of the quiz again, just to make it clear to everybody what we're doing. Okay, so the questions will be displayed just like the question I just showed you. And then we will give you multiple choice answers, just like I showed you now in that first question. Then you have to, when a little window pops up in front of you, you have to choose the right answer, which you think is correct. And then you have to press submit. And then we'll give you a moment, all of you, to submit. So we'll wait a few seconds, and then the answer will be revealed, and you can check if you've got it right as well. I hope that's clear. And I hope you enjoy this quiz because it's really, really fun to do. Let's go through with it. I'm sure as we're going through it, you'll understand the quiz as we're going through it as well. Okay, just before we start the quiz, I'd just like to remind you that in the chat box, you'll see that there is the attendance form to fill for today. And if you could go ahead and fill that in, and that will register your attendance for today. Okay, Jazakallah. So let's get on with the quiz for today. Support teacher, are you ready? Support teacher?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, wonderful. So this is how we're going to go. So this is the first question. Everybody ready? I'm going to read the question to you, and I'll read the choices to you. Once I've read them, then that window will pop up on the screen, okay? So again, this is question number 1. One moment. Okay. What is the correct pause here? So we're looking at this yellow highlighted letter. Okay, let me read that for to you. Let me read the whole sentence to you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يشاء والله واسع عليم. Is it Ali over here, as you'll see? Is it number 1, Alim? Or is it Alimun? Number 3, is it Alima? Or number 4, Alimu? Okay, Esther, if you could launch the poll, and then everybody, if you could select which you think is the correct answer. Is it number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 4? And remember to press submit. Then let's see how many of you get that right. Okay, so Esty, when you're ready, you can let me know when everybody's answered, and then you can let me know of the results. We'll give you a few moments to make your choice. Again, you have to choose what the correct answer is. How are we going to come to a stop? Okay. Just a few more moments. Esti, have most of the students answered the question?
Yes.
Okay, and would you like to reveal which is how many students answered which question?
90% of the students have said that the option 1 is the correct answer.
Wonderful, and that is the correct answer. So in this case, how would we come to a stop here? We would read it as Alim. So let's read that again. Wallahu wasi'un alim. So the dhamma turns into a sukoon. So well done to all of those who got that correct. Well done. On to question number 2. One moment. One moment. I'm not quite sure what's happening. One moment. It's skipping my... Sorry, one moment. Okay. Oh, I've just given you the answers. I hope you weren't looking. Okay. Let's see if... Right, okay. Let's hope we can get this right this time. Okay. So question number 2. What is the correct pause here? So we're looking to see how we're going to stop. Let me read it to you. Innama waliyukumullahu wa rasul. So are we going to read it as rasuluhu? Number 1. Number 2, are we going to read it as rasuluhu? Number 3, are we going to read it as rasuluh? Or number 4, rasuluhu, with no change? What do you think happens when we come to a stop over here? Okay, Steve, if you could launch that poll. Remember, so the lessons that you've been taught, we've been teaching you how to stop correctly, and what happens to this dhamma when we come to a stop. This is an inverted dhamma. So if we okay, we'll give you a few more moments. Okay, Esti, do we have most of the students have answered?
Yes, I'll end the poll now.
Yes.
So most of the students have said that option number 3 is the correct answer.
Okay, so most students have said number 3, rasuluh, which would mean we would change this inverted dhamma to a sukoon above the ha. Let's see if that's correct. Okay, well done. So well done to all of those students who got that correct. That's really good learning. So you're remembering well. Okay, so you can see over here, that's the rule that we just went through. One moment, let me just quickly increase that. I hope you can see that correctly. So there we go. So here's another example. Yarahu. And if we were to stop, we read it as yarah. So the the inverted dhamma turns into a sukoon in this case, if we were to stop. Okay, so on to the next question. One moment. Oops. Okay, question number 3. What is the correct pause here? So you can see the highlighted letter in yellow. So you can see a dha just next to it. At this point, we do come to a stop. It's important to stop here. So it's called a waqful mutlaq, and we have to stop here. What happens to this word? How do we read it as we come to a stop? Let me read it for you. So I'll read from here. مَا لَا يَمْلِكُ لَكُمْ ضَرًّا وَلَا. How are we going to read this word here? Naf. What would we do to this fathatain above the ayn when we come to a stop over here? What happens? Is it number 1? Naf'a. That would be no change. Or naf'an, which would be the tanween. And that would be no change. Number 2, naf'a, we will just elongate it for 2 seconds. Or do we place another fathatain above the alif? Naf'an an. Or number 4, naf'an a. What's the correct answer here? How would we come to a correct stop over here? Okay, if you could launch the poll. So you remember what we've taught you. We'll show you the lesson you learned for this rule, but I hope you've remembered what you learned from the lessons that we taught in the last few weeks. Okay, have most of the students answered the question?
Let's wait for a few more seconds.
Sure, okay.
I'll end the poll now.
Yes, that's fine. Okay, and what did most of the students answer?
So 75% of the students have said that option number 2 is the correct answer.
Okay, and let's see if those 75% of students were correct. Well done, excellent. So you were correct. So what happens to a fathatain when we come to a stop, when we see a waqf like this, or whenever we come to a stop, it changes into a fatha. And we remember it still carries the alif, so we still have to prolong it for 2 seconds. In this case, if we were to read it as in continuation, we would read it like this. La naf'an wa. Instead of, we wouldn't stop, we would just continue, or it would be read as an if it was by itself. In this case, when we're coming to a stop, it's read as naf'a. Wonderful. Okay, I hope that's clear. So over here, you will see that rule. One moment. So here, oops, excuse me. Oh, that wasn't very good. I gave that away. Okay, let's see. So over here, you have abwaban, if you were to read it by itself. But when we come to a stop, the fatha with alif will be pronounced in place of the tanween. So it's just a fatha with an alif, and the tanween part will be taken away. So abwaba. Okay, on to the next question. Okay, question number 4. What is the correct pause here? So you see this word here is as-salati. If we were to stop over here, just stopping on this letter here, what would happen to the qasra in this case? Would it be number 1? Do we read it as as-salat? Or is it number 2? As-salati? Or is it number 3? As-salah? Sorry, as-salah with the ha sakna. Oh, sorry, this is a ta. As-salat. That's how this would be read. Or is it number 4? As-salah with the ha sakina. What would happen in this case to the maksur letter here? Okay, so if you could launch that poll. Okay, we'll give you a few moments to answer. And what do you think is the correct way to pause when you see a kasra? What happens to a maksur letter when we come to a pause? This letter is a ta'i marbuta, so something else also occurs in this situation. This is one of the rules you have learned in the last few weeks, so hopefully a lot of you will get this correct. Okay, so ST, do we have, most students have answered the question?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll end the poll now.
Yes.
So, 75% of the students have said that option number 4 is the correct answer.
Okay, wonderful. So what that would mean that this ta'i marbuta with a maksur, ta'i marbuta with a kasra would turn into a ha sakina, which means it carries a sukoon. Let's see if that's correct. And yes, that's correct. So well done to most of you who got that correct. So let's just quickly go through that as well. One moment. It is rule number 8 over here. Let's quickly read that for you. Musfiratun. And then that would change to musfirah. Remember that the ta'i marbuta changes into a ha sakina. Okay, on to the next question. Oops. Let me see if I can quickly skip that without showing you the answer. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Sorry, I've got a problem with my mouse today for some reason. Okay, so question number 5. What is the correct pause here? Dinihi. So you can see a ha, which carries a inverted kasra in this case. So it's read for 2 seconds. Dinihi, if in continuation. What happens when we stop? Is it number 1? Dinihi, meaning does it stay the same? Or is it dinihi? Or is it number 3? Dinihi, staying the same in terms of how it looks as well. Or is it number 4? Dini, which would be the ha would carry a sukoon. What's the correct answer? If you could launch the poll, please. Okay, hopefully we'll just give you a few more seconds. So we have quite a few questions to go through. I'm going to speed up the process here. So hopefully most of you will have answered by now. Support teacher, have most students answered?
Yes.
Okay, let's see what the correct answer was. Well, what they've answered, and then we'll see what the correct answer is.
So 72% of the students have said that option number 4 is the correct answer.
Okay, let's see if that's correct. And yes, most of you got that correct. So well done. Again, that was really good learning. So when we come across a inverted or an extra elongation, it also turns into a sukoon when we come to a stop. So with a ha in this case. Rasulihi and rasulih. So vertical kasra will always change into a sukoon. Okay, let me get to the next question. Let's hopefully I will be, oops, excuse me. Right, let me see if I can do that without showing you the answer. No, my mouse is actually, yeah, okay, 1 minute. That's giving me, okay. So question number 6, what is the correct pause here? Bi qawmin. So we're looking at a meme, that is a monovan meme, which means it carries a tanween of kasra. And what would it be? Would it be answer number 1? Bi qawmin with no change. Would it be bi qawm, where we have a meme with the sukoon? Excuse me. Or would it not be number 3? Bi qawmin. Does it change in with and does it stay the same with the noon sakina? Well, it looks that way. Or is it number 4? Bi qawmi. What do you think is the correct answer? Okay, just a few more seconds. Right, okay, let's see what most of you have answered in the polls.
So, most of the students have said that it's option number 2. That is the correct answer.
Okay, let's see if you're correct. Well done to all of you who answered that correctly. So it is biqawmi. As you can see, a kasra tain turns into a sukoon. So we remove the kasra tain and we place a sukoon above the letter. Let's quickly go through that. That's rule number 4 on the rules of waqf. Makhtumin and makhtum. Again, the tanween of kasra will change into a sukoon. Okay, let me quickly scoot down. Let's hopefully I'll be able to get to the next question. Oops, not again. Okay, what is the correct pause over here? أخرى. Is it answer number 1? أخرى with a ja sakin at the end. Would it be أخري? Would it be number 3? أخرى. Or would it be number 4? أخرى. What would the correct answer be? Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to answer the question. Okay, because we have so many questions to get through. We have a total of 15 questions. So let's see what the students have said. ST, if you could let us know what most of the students have said in the poll.
So 50% of the students have said that option 3 is the correct answer.
Okay, and what was the other 50%?
It's equally divided between the 3 options.
Sure, that's fine. Okay, so let's see if those 50% were correct. So well done to all of you who got that correct. So what happens in this case, the ya is ignored and we just recite, sorry, the inverted fatha is turned into a normal elongation. So basically we ignore the ya and we just read it as a ra, an alif, and a ra. 1 second, let me show you the rule here. A moment. So, yes, in this case, while we're reciting this, we're not really paying attention to the ja, and we're just reciting this fatha over this inverted fatha over here. So it doesn't change. There will be no change. A prolongation stays for 2 counts. Yes, again, it stays the same. Okay. 1 moment. Okay, let's see. What is the correct pause over here? Waliyukum. Waliyukum. How would you stop here? Is it number 1? No change. Waliyukum. Or is it number 2? Waliyukum. Is it number 3? Waliyukumu. Or is it number 4? Waliyukumun. What do you think is the correct answer here? I'll give you a few moments to answer that. Okay, let's see how many students got that right. So what was the majority in terms of the answer?
87% of the students have said that option number 2 is the correct answer.
Okay, let's see if you got that correct. Yes, well done. So that was really good learning. So what happens in this case? The dhamma also turns into a sukoon. Let's go to the rule number 3 over here. You can see the dhamma. So this is na'budu, and dhamma will change into a sukoon. Na'bud. Okay, so that's what happens in the case of a dhamma when you are coming to a stop. Okay, let's open it to the next one easily. 1 moment. Oops, oh, I just gave the answer away. Okay, what is the correct pause here? Alayhi. Is it number 1? عليها. Number 2, عليه. Number 3, عليه. Or is it number 4? عليه. Okay, what do you think is the right answer? So what happens when we pause to the maqsoor ha? So let's read that again. عليه is the original word. The option 1 is عليها. Option 2, عليه. Option 3, عليه. Or option 4, عليه. What do you think occurs? Okay, ST, if you could let me know what's the majority answer.
So 81% of the students have said that option number 4 is the correct answer.
Okay, so it was 18%.
81.
81. Oh, okay, that's quite a big majority. Okay, let's see if you got that correct. Well done. So the correct answer was answer number 4, عليه. Again, the maqsoor letter turns into a sakin letter. Again, over here is rule number 2, yawmi. So kasra will change into a sukoon. Yawm. And that's how you would come to a stop there. Let's hope I can get to, oops, again, I'm doing the same thing. Okay, question number 10. What is the correct pause here? Nadim, how would you say this word here? It's nadimina over here, but how would we say it when we're pausing? Is it answer number 1, ni, answer number 2, na, or answer number 3, which would be a sukoon, and answer number 4, nu. What would we do to this noon here? If you could launch that poll, I'll read the question again. So what is the correct pause here? Nadimina. What do we do to this fatha, this noon that carries a fatha? Is it ni, na, which would be the sukoon, and nu? What's the correct answer? So because this one's easy, I'll give you a few seconds more. Okay, if we could have the answer there, what have most of the students answered?
There was some technical issue. 1 second, I'm just having a difficulty launching the poll.
Okay, that's fine. So let's read the question again. And what I'm going to do is, while you're doing that, you can launch the next question. I will just give you the answer here. So yep, go ahead.
I was able to launch it now, so should I just tell you now?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll give you a few seconds to answer. If you could all answer that question, and then we'll reveal the answer to you. So again, how do we stop? Nadimina. What's the correct way to stop on this? Is it ni, na, or nu? Okay, can we have the answers?
Yeah. So most of the students have said that it's option 3.
Okay, wonderful. Let's see if you got that right. So well done. Excellent to all those who said option 3. What happens to the fatha? It also turns into a sukoon. So that was the first rule of pause that you learned. So it's dhalika. You can see the fatha here. And fatha will change into a sukoon. It would be read as dhalik. So that's brilliant. Wonderful. Okay, on to the next question. That's me. Okay, 1 moment. Let's see if I can get to that question without showing you the answer. Showing you the answer. Okay. What is the correct pause here? So I'm going to read from here. Amanu ahaula illadhi. Oh, sorry. Illadhina. How would we stop here? How would we read this last word here? And what would happen to the noon over here? It's exactly the same as the last one. So what's the correct answer? Is it here? Is it na, with the sukoon? Is it ni or nu? And notice when you place a sukoon above a letter, you just say the sound of the letter, rather than a na, ni or nu, we say it just joins onto the previous mutaharrik letter. Okay, wonderful. Can we have what the students have answered, please?
So 90% of students have said that it's option number 2.
Excellent. Okay, let's see if that's correct. Well done to all of you who got that correct. And the rule is here. Let me see if I can find it for you. Oops, no, it's not on there, but okay, we can go ahead and go to the next question. What is the correct pause over here? So you were looking at this wow here. Let me read it for you from here. Allahu bidurrin fala kashifa lahu illa huwa. How would we read this last word letter here? This wa that carries a fatha. What would happen to this letter? We read it as the answer would be, is it 1, huwa with no change, or would it be hu with an elongation of 2 seconds, or would it be number 3, how, where the ha takes on a fatha, or is the correct answer hu, where we're connecting a hamza with the sukoon onto the hu? What's the correct answer? If you could launch the poll, let me read that question again. So let's read that word again. Lahu illa huwa. How would we stop? Huwa, hu, sorry, hu, how, or hu. How would we read this? Well, if we were to come to a pause with this waqf mutalik over here. Okay, let's see how many people got that correct. So ST, if you could let me know.
So 77% of the students said that option number 2 is the correct answer.
Okay, let's check that. Is that correct? Well done. So what happens here? When you see a letter that is a maftu letter, it carries a sukoon. But in this case, as you can see, the letter previous to it is also carries a dhamma. That means we have to prolong it for 2 seconds. So we read it as hu. Okay, that's the rule there. Okay, let's try and get to the next question without revealing the answer this time. Let's see if I can, oops, nope, I've done it again. Okay, what is the correct pause here? Okay, who are you? Ye, is it number 1? You. Okay, that's tricky for me. Okay, yuhi. So we just have to join the two together with the sukoon. Does it assume a sukoon? In this case, what would it be? Is it number 2? Yuhi. Sorry, yuhi. Is it number 2? Yuhi. Or is it number 4? Yuhi. What happens to the ya in this case? Okay, if you could launch that poll. Okay, let's read that again. Huwa yuhyi, 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 yuhyi. Which is the right answer here?
So the students are equally divided between all the options, but but option number 4 has slightly more.
Yes. Okay, so let's reveal the answer because a lot of you are getting confused. We can go over the rule, hopefully, if I can find. So the correct answer was answer number 4. Yuhyi. So it doesn't actually change. Let's see if we can find an example for you over here. Okay, so as we're reading this, as you can see, it doesn't actually change when we come to a stop here. So yuhyi. And there will be no change, and the prolongation is for 2 counts because of the inverted kasra. Yuhyi. Okay, so that was a bit confusing, but nothing actually changes. What actually you were seeing was 2 dots on the ya, and maybe that's confused a lot of people. But it's this what we're actually focusing on is the stroke beneath it that tells you, or above it, in this case it's beneath it, that tells you what happens to the stroke. It doesn't change in this case. Okay, one moment, on to the next question. Also, what is the question number 14? What is the correct pause here? So we're looking at this dai marbuta here. This, it carries a dhamma. So let me read that for you. Suratu Baqarati. Suratu Baqarati. So what happens to this tu over here? Let's see, what is it? Question answer number 1, Suratul. That would mean, are we joining this tu onto this lam? Is that what's occurring? Or no, or answer number 2, Suratu. It doesn't change. Is it surah? It assumes a sukoon, and we don't read it as a ta, we read it, it's showing as a ta, but we would read it as a rah. But, or does it change in appearance altogether, where the 2 dots even disappear and it changes into a ha? This would be called a ta'i marbuta, and anytime you see 2 dots, we read the ta. But in this case, if you see a sukoon above a ha, it turns into a ha. So is it answer number 4? Surah. What's the correct answer? Okay, let me read that for you while the poll's being launched. Suratul Baqarati. Is it answer number 1, Suratul? Answer number 2, Suratu. Oh, no, answer number 3, this would be read as rat rather than rah. Surat. Or would it be surah? What would the correct answer be? Okay, do we have enough answers, support teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
So 60% of the students have said that option number 4 is the correct answer.
Okay, let's check that if that's right. And well done to all of those that did get that right. So when you see a ta'i marbuta and we come to a stop, it turns into a ha as we're reciting it with a sukoon above it. Okay, one moment. Let me just show that to you as well. So it's rule number 8 over here. So you can see, again, we did that before as well. So musfiratun, dal marbuta will change into a ha sakina. Musfirah. So we join the ha onto the ra in this case. Okay, and this, oops, right, okay. Question number 15. What is the correct pause over here? Suratul Baqarah. I think there's supposed to be a sukoon above this lam. Is it Al-Baqaratun, number 1? Is it Al-Baqarah? The ha, the ta'i marbuta will change into a ha sakna. Would it be al-baqarah with the ta? Would it be al-baqarati? What would be the correct answer here if we were to come to a pause on this letter here? So let's have a look. Okay, what did the majority of the students say in the quiz?
So most of the students have said that it's option number 2.
Okay, and let's see if you got that right. Well done. So we just went over in the question before as well. The same applies here. This ta'i marbuta turns into a ha sakin. So whenever you come to a stop on this ta'i marbuta, it changes into a ha sakina. You can see that the dots go away and it just looks like a ha with the sukoon above it, which means a sukoon means we have to join it onto the letter previous to it. Okay, well done, excellent. That was really good, and I hope you learnt a lot from that, and I hope you learnt what you do know, and I hope you will revise your waqf rules as well, inshallah. So that's, let me just quickly show you that. So that was rule number 8 there. Okay, I'm just going to skip on to the next part of the lesson, simply because we've spent so much time on the quiz. We won't be doing the practice today, but we can go straight on to the hard words. One moment, let me see if I've got time. Okay, so we do have time. I think I can have 1 or 2 students where I can actually just do a practice session. Support teacher, if we could have 1 student and let's see how it goes, and then we'll decide what to do.
Yes. Can student G2 735 come to the mic, please?
G2 735, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay, let's get on with reading it because let me decide. Okay, so we'll start from here. If I just recite, then you could follow behind me. Is that okay? Okay. Wonderful. فأسقط. Remember, q as in the q is a thick sounding. Th has a slight jerk sound. فأسقط
فأسقط
علينا
علينا
كسفا من السماء.
كسفا من السماء.
Okay, so remember the meme mushaddad, we have to hold it for 2 seconds. So when I read this, let me read it separately for you. كسفا
كسفا
Okay, but then if we join it together, كسفا من السماء.
كسفا من السماء.
Okay, I'm just trying to change my right. Okay, here we go. That's better. Okay, and when we have to join this onto that as well. So let's try that again. كسفا من السماء.
كسفا من السماء.
So I joined on the Hamza over here. So we're coming to a stop. What happens to a letter that carries a kasra? It turns into a sukoon. Okay, let's try that again. The slight join it with it. Okay, let's read it together. As-sama.
من السماء.
And the Hamza at the end. Okay, this one here we join it. Okay, let's read the next bit. In kunta
إن كنت
من الصادقين.
من الصادقين.
This letter is a thick sounding letter. من الصادقين.
من الصادقين.
قال ربي أعلم بما تعملون. Okay, and you see this ayn here, it's quite tricky. Try to join it onto the ta. Ta'malun. Yeah. Ta'malun.
تعلمون.
Malun. Okay, notice what happens to the noon when we stop here. So this is the end of a verse and we have to stop here. What happens to this noon that carries a fatha? It turns into a noon with a sukoon above it. Yeah, so we have to join the noon onto the previous mutaharik, but this one's a sukoon already. We say the sukoon with this one and join the sound onto the end of that one. Okay, this is how we read this. Ta'malun.
تعلمون.
Ma, the meme comes before the la. So ta'malun.
تعلمون.
Okay, can you see this meme? Does it come before the me and the lam or after the lam? This meme.
I can't see the screen.
Okay, one moment. You should let me know. Right, let's see if you can see the screen. Let me just check I've got it correct. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. And you should be able to see the screen. Can you see it now?
No, it's all pitch black.
Okay, I don't know why that would be. One moment. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening, but
Main teacher, I can see your screen.
yeah, okay. Let's see if I can just fix that. Can you see it now?
No.
Okay, that's quite strange because okay, that's fine, because if the support teacher can see it, that means it's being shared correctly. That's okay. So there's a meme before the lam in this case. So it's ta'malun.
تعملون.
Okay, Jazakallah, because you can't see the screen, it's quite tricky. Okay, Jazakallah G2 735. Jazakallah for that. We'll just go on to the next part of the lesson. Allah Hafiz, Jazakallah for that. Okay, so we're just going to run through the tricky letters, which are the hard words for today. So today's letter, the words, sorry, are أيما تدعون. You
main
cannot
teacher?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't see the screen.
Okay,
It's
one
stuck
moment.
on the previous
Let's
page.
see. Let me see. Can you see it now?
No.
Well, that's quite strange because I'm actually sharing it as I was sharing it before. Is that okay? Can you see it now?
No, I think you should stop share screening and try again.
I'll do it again. One moment. Right. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, I
Okay,
can see it
wonderful.
now.
أيما تدعون. So I'm just going to go through this myself today. So remember, when we come across hard words in the Holy Quran, it's better to slow down and to break down each letter and read it separately. So in this case, I hope you can all see my screen still. When you can see a yash, a letter with a shadda. So for the first letter in this case is alif with a fatha. We know that, so we know it's an a. But you can see a letter with that carries a shadda straight after it. That's probably the place where you would be considering it's quite tricky. So we have to figure out how to recite this. This letter carries a shadda, and we remember a shadda is a joining letter. When we know we have to join it onto the previous mutaharik letter. So in this case, we would join the ya onto the alif. In this case, the first thing we would do is say ay. So the alif and the ya are joined together. The second thing that we would look at, now we can see there's an alif between the meme, the next letter that is also a joining letter, and this letter, this ya. Now, if that shadda wasn't there, the meme mushaddad wasn't there, we would read this as ayyan because it also carries a tanween. But in this case, what happens? Because there's a shadda, a letter that carries a shadda straight after it, we have to remember we still have to join that letter onto something as well. So in this case, the tanween gets merged into the meme. So this un sound gets merged into a meme. We don't say noon, we say meme. We join it together as a meme. So let's read that together. Ayyam. And what happens when we see a meme mushaddad? We have to hold it for 2 seconds for a nasalization. Ayyam. So we're reading the fatha of the shadda over here. Ya, ayya. And the meme mushaddad, we're holding on to that for 2 seconds, and the noon, the tanween joins onto the meme as an idgham, so it merges together. Let's read that together. Ayyam, ayyam. And then what do we have to do next? As you can see, there's an alif straight after it. What happens in this case? When you see a fatha followed by an alif, that is a letter of prolongation. So we have to recite it for 2 seconds. Well, we've got this far. Ayyam. Then we have to elongate using also the stroke above the meme. Don't forget the fatha above the meme. Then we prolong it for 2 seconds. Ayyam. Okay, and then on to the next part, you can see there's a ta and a dal. That's fairly straightforward. And then again, that's straightforward as well. In this case, we ignore the alif for now because it carries no stroke. So let's read that all together. If we go back, let me show you. Oops. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. It starts as aish, then it goes to ayyam. Remember, we're also using the fatha of the tanween, and then we merge it with the mim mushaddad. Ayyam, ayyam, and then ayyam tad, ayyam tad'u. So it's really important to break down each word when we find it tricky. Again, the next word over here, we're looking at this letter here. When we see this is a bit of a tricky one as well. When we see a waw that carries a hamza, what do? We ignore the waw in itself and we just focus on the hamza and what's above it. In this case, it's a madmoom hamza that carries a dhamma. Ooh, let's read that. So how would we read this? Okay, so let's go down one moment. So the first thing that we can see is the alif, that's a, and then we know that's a waw, that's straightforward, awa. Okay, and then we go on to the next bit. So when you see a shadda letter, you know it's a joining letter. You also have to pay attention to what comes before it. When you see a nun sakin, you also have to pay attention to that as well, and what comes after it. In this case, we've been taught that when you see a ya mushaddad followed by a nun sakin, we have to make a nasal sound for 2 seconds, a slight nasal sound, and this is how we read this. May, and the noon and is slightly sounded, and the ya is slightly joined onto it. May, using the meme and the fatha. So awa may. Again, we also then have to do the dhamma of the ya. So awa mayu, awa mayu. And on to the next part, you can see there's a noon that carries a fatha, and followed by it there's a shadda letter. There is a sheen. We know we have to join those together. So nash, nash. So awa mayu nash. Again, there's a fatha above that letter too. So awa mayu nasha. And then the last thing that we have to read is u. Awa mayu nasha'u. Awa mayu nasha'u. Okay, so I hope that's clear. So that's how you decipher which letter, decipher how to read hard words, is to break it down and take it slowly, bit by bit. You have to figure out what each letter, what stroke it carries, and how to join it together. Okay, I hope that's clear. Okay, so on to the last bit of our class. So just a quick recap. So the rule was actually the rules of waqf today. We did a revision lesson using the quiz, and it was Talimul-Quran lesson number 21, page 85, if you want to revise that again. The practice text was chapter 26, verses 188 and 193, which we only done, I think, 2 verses today. Hard words of tilawat were ayyamma tad'u and awa may yunasha'u. Sorry, awa may yunasha'u. The homework for today is to practice today's verses. So apply the rules we've revised so far in your daily tilawat. Pay attention to what you do when you pause. And remember to keep practicing your hifz chapters in your salat as well. Jazakallah. Okay, so we're going to support teacher. If you could give me a student to do the end prayer.
Can student G2613 come to the mic, please?
G2613, Assalamu alaikum. G2613? No, can we have another
Yes. Can G2692 come to the mic, please?
G2692, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Okay, wonderful. How are you?
Good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm well. Okay, let's read together. Allahumma arhamni.
Allahumma arhamni.
Bil-Qur'an al-azim.
Bil-Qur'an al-azim.
Waj'alhu li.
Waj'alhu li
Imaman wa
imaman wa
nuran wa
nuran wa
hudan wa rahmah.
hudan wa rahmah.
Jazakallah. If you could read the translation.
O Allah, have mercy on me, says the Quran the Great. Set for me the leader, the light, and the guide, the mercy.
Okay, Jazakallah. Jazakallah, G2692. Jazakallah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Okay, that brings our class to an end today. Jazakumullah for joining today's class, and we hope to see you in tomorrow's class. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.